Injustice must end. It has lingered for far too long in the shadows of our world, feeding on silence, thriving on fear, and tightening its grip on the powerless. We see it in every corner of society. When truth is silenced, when the weak are cast aside, when corruption poisons what should be pure. We cannot pretend it is distant. It is here, and it is real. Injustice is not an idea to be debated. It is a wound carved into human lives. It is the child denied an education because of where they were born. It is the family torn apart by greed. It is the voice of the innocent drowned out by those who hold power. These are not statistics. These are lives, flesh and blood. And every day it is allowed to continue. Another soul is broken. Too often we choose silence. Too often we look away, convincing ourselves that someone else will speak, someone else will act. But silence is not neutral. It sides with the oppressor. Every moment we fail to raise our voices, injustice grows stronger, bolder, more vicious. Yet history has shown us again and again that even one voice, clear and unyielding, can shake empires. Those who have strength, whether it be strength of wealth, strength of influence, or strength of courage, carry a responsibility. Power is not given for comfort. It is given so that the vulnerable may be protected. To turn away from that duty is to become complicit in the very injustice we claim to despise. The fight for justice will not be easy. It will test patience, demand sacrifice, and call for unwavering persistence. But injustice is not immortal. It can be broken, it can be defeated, and it must be if we are to call ourselves truly human. So I say to you now, do not wait for another. Do not hope for someone else to step forward. Stand, speak, act. The world bends toward justice only when we demand it, only when we refuse to yield. The time has come. Injustice must end. Injustice is not a distant storm on the horizon. It is here among us, woven into the very fabric of daily life. It creeps into places where fairness should reign. It lives in the quiet corners of society, in the lives of those who work tirelessly but remain unseen, unheard, unvalued. It is present when a child grows up hungry while food is wasted elsewhere. It is present when someone is judged not for their character but for their skin, their faith, or their origin. It is present when truth is twisted to protect the powerful and punish the innocent. It is easy to dismiss injustice as something abstract, as if it were a problem too vast to confront. But the reality is sharper, colder, and more cruel. It is the factory worker exploited for their labor while profits soar beyond imagination. It is the whistleblower silenced for daring to reveal the truth. It is the family evicted from their home because greed spoke louder than compassion. These are not accidents. They are not coincidences. They are choices made by those who benefit from the suffering of others. Injustice is not an invisible force. It is the consequence of human decisions, sustained by indifference, by apathy, by fear. And until it is faced with courage, it will continue to spread like a shadow across every generation that follows. Mm-hmm. The cost of injustice is not measured in numbers or charts. It is written in the faces of people whose lives are stripped of dignity. It is the tear of a mother who cannot feed her child, the silence of a father who works from dawn until midnight and still cannot escape poverty. It is the dreams of children extinguished before they ever had a chance to burn bright. Every act of injustice leaves scars that ripple through families, through communities, through entire nations. When a person is denied fairness, they are not the only one who suffers. Hope itself weakens. Trust in humanity crumbles. The belief that tomorrow can be better begins to fade. And when hope dies, injustice wins twice. first by oppressing the body and then by shackling the spirit. The human cost is heavy, but it is often invisible to those who do not bear it. It does not scream in headlines. It does not always march and protest. Sometimes it is quiet, hidden behind closed doors, in the child who studies by candlelight because electricity is a privilege, or in the worker who hides their pain because complaining could mean losing what little they have. Injustice robs people not only of what they need, but of who they might have become. A poet silenced, a leader never given the chance to lead, a healer denied the tools to heal. How many voices have we lost? How many lives have been reduced to mere survival when they might have shaped the world? That is the true cost. An immeasurable theft, a robbery of futures that will never return. Silence is not empty. It is not harmless. It is a weapon, and in the hands of injustice, it is sharper than any blade. When good people remain silent, the oppressor grows louder. When communities look away, the chains of cruelty tighten. Silence does not protect the weak. It protects those who prey upon them. Every time we choose not to speak, we are lending our strength to the very forces we claim to despise. But the voice is different. A single voice, when it dares to rise against silence, can ignite change. One voice can echo through corridors of power, shattering lies, exposing truths that fear tried to bury. History remembers not the silence of the many, but the courage of the few who refuse to bow. The voice carries weight because it is the sound of conscience refusing to be drowned out. Yes, it takes courage to speak. It takes risk to confront a world that profits from injustice. And yet, the cost of silence is always greater. Silence allows injustice to live forever. Voice gives birth to resistance, and resistance breathes life into hope. When voices come together, they form a tide no force can resist. So the choice is clear. Remain silent and become a shadow, or raise your voice and become a spark that can set fire to despair, a spark that can light the path toward justice. Strength is never meant to be a throne. It is meant to be a shield. Those who carry power, whether it is the power of wealth, influence, knowledge, or position, carry with it a burden. That burden is responsibility. To stand idle while others suffer, to hoard strength while others are broken, is to betray the very gift of that strength. It is easy for the strong to believe they earned their place alone, that they owe nothing beyond themselves, but strength does not exist in isolation. Every gift we possess was shaped by those who came before, those who gave, those who sacrificed. To forget this is arrogance. To ignore it is injustice in its own form. The true measure of strength is not how high one can rise, but how many one can lift with them. It is not shown in domination, but in protection. It is not in how loudly one commands, but in how fiercely one defends the defenseless. Strength is hollow when it serves only itself. But when it is used to guard the vulnerable, to confront the corrupt, to lift the fallen, then it becomes something greater than power. It becomes justice itself. The strong must not wait for the weak to beg for help. They must step forward before the cry is heard, before the damage is done. For if the strong will not stand against injustice, who will? If the strong turn away, who is left to fight? To have strength and do nothing is to stand on the side of the oppressor. But to have strength and choose to act, that is where a world begins to change. The fight for justice is not a moment. It is not a single march, a single speech, or a single victory. It is relentless, demanding not only courage but endurance. Injustice does not surrender easily. It resists, it adapts, it hides in new forms, waiting for the world to grow weary, and that is why justice must never rest. The path is long and filled with setbacks. There will be days when progress feels invisible, when every step forward is met with 2 steps back. There will be moments of doubt, when those who fight grow tired and wonder if the struggle is worth it. And it is in those moments that injustice thrives, when exhaustion whispers, "Stop," when fear tempts us to retreat. But justice cannot be won by the faint of heart. It belongs to those who rise again and again, even after defeat, even after loss. It belongs to those who understand that every small victory matters, that one life saved, one truth spoken, one act of courage carries weight beyond measure. For the fight is not only for ourselves, but for those who will come after us. Justice is not a prize to be claimed once and for all. It is a flame that must be guarded, protected, and fed. To fight for justice is to accept that the work may never be finished in our lifetime. But if we do not begin, if we do not persist, then the chains will remain for generations yet unborn. The relentless struggle is the proof of its worth, for what is won without effort is easily lost. But what is fought for with blood, with sacrifice, with unyielding resolve, that endures. That reshapes the world, and that is why the fight for justice must never cease. The time for waiting is over. The time for hoping someone else will step forward is gone. Change has never come from hesitation, and justice has never been handed down freely. It is claimed by those who refuse to yield, by those who are willing to stand when standing is dangerous, by those who dare to speak when silence feels safe. Every voice matters, every act counts. Do not think yourself too small, too powerless, too distant from the struggle. Entire movements have been born from a single act of courage, a single word spoken at the right moment. One match can banish the darkness of an entire room, and when many matches are struck together, they create a fire that no injustice can withstand. Do not wait for leaders to grant you permission, for systems to correct themselves, for oppressors to grow a conscience. That day will never come. Justice is not given, it is demanded. It is built, brick by brick, by the hands of those who refuse to look away. So stand for the voiceless, stand for the forgotten, stand for those whose strength has been stolen, whose hope has been broken. Speak even when your voice shakes. Act even when fear whispers against it. For every step you take toward justice, no matter how small, weakens the grip of oppression. The world does not bend toward justice on its own. It bends because people push together with all the force of their will. And when enough hearts refuse to be silent, when enough hands reach out to lift the fallen, when enough people decide that injustice will no longer be tolerated, that is the moment the tide turns. The choice is ours here and now, to accept the world as it is or to fight for the world as it should be. I say we fight. I say we demand it. I say we end it. Injustice must end. Justice is not a dream. It is not a distant hope waiting for another generation. It is a duty here and now for each of us to carry. The path will be hard and the struggle will test us. But there is no greater cause, no higher calling than to stand against injustice. Let history remember us, not for our silence, not for our fear, but for our courage. Let it remember that when faced with cruelty, we chose compassion. When confronted with oppression, we chose defiance. And when given the chance to walk away, we chose to stand and fight. Injustice has ruled long enough. Its time is over. The world is waiting for those who will rise, those who will speak, those who will act. Let that be us. Let it begin now. Let it begin now until justice prevails.